It's time to take off your clothes, enjoy clothes-free living, and join us for Naked, Nudist, and Naturist.
Welcome to Naked, Nudists, and Naturist, the show that celebrates clothes-free living for all. I'm your host, Frank Stone.
And I'm your correspondent, Lisa Monroe, and I'll be reporting on all things within the Naturist community. So it's time to get naked and join us.
And enjoy clothes-free living on Naked, Nudists, and Naturists. Well, greetings and welcome into Naked, Nudists, and Naturists, episode 133 today. Really glad that you're with us. We enjoy this time together. We say that on pretty much every show, but we also mean it 100%. We look forward to this time together with you to share our mutual enjoyment and joy and love for naturism, nudism, clothes-free living for all of the right reasons. And that's why we're now giving you 2 shows a week. Forever it was 1 show every Saturday morning, 6 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time on Spotify. And we're still doing that for you, a full 1-hour show. And then we added a Wednesday show, just Lisa, just myself, every Wednesday now. It was supposed to be most Wednesdays. It was never intended to be every Wednesday. But our first show on Wednesdays dropped July 31st. We haven't missed one since. I promise you at some point we will take a Wednesday off just to keep up with our original intent. But we enjoy it so much. We enjoy providing the content, the feedback from you, the mutual sharing, hearing your stories. And that's why we just enjoy doing it. So we keep coming back every Wednesday, every Saturday, and we are good to go. Glad that you are here. Come on in. The pool is clean as a whistle and totally fine, ready for you to jump in. We were swimming a little before you got here. The hot tub is fired up. The grill is going full bore. Fruits and vegetables off to the right. Cold drinks off to the left. Hot drinks inside. Help yourself. You go out the left door of the pool area. You will find a hammock between 2 trees requested by a listener. Need a break, need a nap, that's the place to go. You go in the back of the pool area behind the screen. Got a little putting green for you there. One of our listeners requested that as well. Back left corner of the pool area, cigar bar. If you enjoy cigars, that's the place to go for that. And we have plenty of extra suntan lotion, plenty of extra towels, plenty of extra chairs. So again, if you showed up with nothing other than yourself, you're good to go. You are ready to go. We'll take care of everything for you. We just want to make sure that you enjoy this next hour, clothes-free living, for all of the right reasons. Well, on today's show, Lisa Monroe will be here momentarily. I see her through the glass, sipping coffee yet again. One of these days, we'll have to price out exactly what we spend on coffee around here because it's a nonstop flow. But be that as it may, I'm enjoying a double mug myself. She's enjoying some. She'll be here in just a moment. And then we'll have part 1 of my interview with Brian King. Brian exchanged several emails with us back and forth in the spring and summer, discovering nudism, naturism, clothes-free living for all the right reasons. He used our show as inspiration to try his first nudist resort. And now he's on fire. Met up with Rick Dorsiak. And you don't meet up with Rick Dorsiak and not come away without being on fire. And he met him at Lake Como, spent the day there. And then he spent some time at Cypress Cove. Now he's a fully fledged member of Cypress Cove. And naturism, loving every second of it. So part 1 of my interview with Brian King coming up on today's show. And then part 2 coming up on next week's show. So again, you're listening to Naked, Nudists, and Naturists, episode 133 today. And I don't know about you, but I hear some music in the background. Do you hear it? Let's listen together. Oh, yes. Yeah, and there it is. That can only mean one thing. It's time for the great, the terrific, the completely over-the-top, fully clothes-free, and fully smiling, our naturism correspondent, Lisa Monroe. And here she is, the one-of-a-kind, the completely over-the-top, fully clothes-free, and fully smiling, our naturism correspondent, Lisa Monroe. Good morning, Lisa. How are you today?
Good morning, Frank. I'm doing terrific. And how about yourself on this very bright, sunny morning?
Well, every day is bright and sunny if you have the right disposition, right?
Well, this is true because
Yeah.
even with the cloud, yeah, I don't like rainy days, so I don't get depressed unless it's like 3 or 4 days in a row. So yeah, you'd be happy even in the clouds, but
Okay.
sun works.
Are you familiar with the name Zubin Mehta? It's a
Yes,
gentleman. Oh, you know Zubin Mehta?
yes. Isn't he the musician?
He's a conductor,
Yes.
and I don't know his current status, but for a long time he was the conductor of the Los Angeles Philharmonic.
Oh, that's right. I was thinking someone else, but he's the conductor. Yes, but I have heard of him.
Okay, and he has a worldwide reputation. Guest conducts all over the world, all the big orchestras. Well, as I was doing and here she is, the one of a kind, the completely out of the corner of my eye, I could have sworn that I saw some conducting action on the part of Lisa Monroe doing her best Zubin Mehta impression. Am I correct, or was I seeing things?
You might have been correct. My God, it worked. No, because you did kind of chuckle and but composed yourself quickly. So we'll have to do that more often.
Yeah, I almost lost it, and I almost looked. I thought, is she conducting? I need to look as I'm talking. I thought, no, I can't look because that will destroy the whole flow of the show. And now that might be good every once in a while to have a little laugh. But what the heck? Maybe we should change your name to Lisa Zubin Mehta Monroe. That's a long name, but why not?
Well, it works for me. I mean, he's incredibly talented, so I will bask in the limelight from him.
All right. Conductor Lisa Monroe. How about that? The Naked Nudists and Naturist Philharmonic. If we ever start an orchestra, we have our conductor.
Absolutely. I'm ready and to go at a drop of a note. It's okay.
All right. Well, today is obviously episode 133. We've done 11 Wednesdays. So that makes this the 121st straight Saturday that without fail or delay, we've given the listeners a 1 hour show, 6 a.m. Eastern Time on Spotify. Even saying those words, it sounds like I'm making them up, but it's true. 121 straight Saturdays. Can you believe that?
It really is hard to believe, but when you said something to me about episode 133, I'm like, wait, are we going that far? And no. Oh, and then I thought, oh my gosh, it's like next week. How did that happen? But I don't know if we're crazy or if we're too dedicated or what it is, but we put up with each other for 121 straight Saturdays. So,
Yeah. Actually, my math was a bit off. It's 12 Wednesdays.
oh,
So 133 today, 133 minus 12 takes us to the 121. So yeah,
mhm.
121 straight Saturdays and no signs of slowing down unless we step in front of a bus today by mistake, which we hope doesn't happen.
No, please. That's
All
not
right.
gonna, that would not be good.
No, that's a great way to ruin your day and
Yes,
maybe
it
the rest
is.
of your life. So we're not going to do that. Well, we have, as everybody knows, a Patreon page. We invite you to join. And Lisa, speaking of math, I was doing the math on this, so it's not off the top of my head.
Okay.
We have different levels for people to give, and some give a whole bunch. And we can't, well, we're appreciative of everybody. But when you go over the line, we're even more appreciative, I guess.
Yep.
But you can get in at a very small level, $60 a year.
Yeah.
A year. And I was thinking if we do every Wednesday and every Saturday, that's 104 episodes for $60. That's
Mm-hmm.
almost down to, but not quite 50 cents a show. Where else you going to get a show for 50 cents in the world, right? Not the theater, not Amazon Prime, nowhere, right?
No, you can't get a cup of coffee for 50 cents anymore. So I think that's probably a pretty good deal. And it's only $5 a month. But, again, we'd love to have you join us because we have fun in the Patreon group. But also just listen. That's the important thing. Listen, like us on YouTube, send us a review or whatever. But, just as long as you're listening.
Yeah, and for the $10 a month, that's a different level.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little over $1 a show. That's still
Mm-hmm.
really good. You can listen to it a zillion times. Amazon Prime, a lot of times you pay $5, $10, $20, and you get it for what, 24 hours, 48 hours, and it's gone.
Exactly.
And our shows, you can keep them forever. Anyway, we hope you join. We have a Patreon page. We gave up paid work to do this show for free. Not very bright, but we did it on purpose, which says a lot about us. Not too bright, but we did it on purpose.
I'm really not sure how bright we are, but it's been fun. At least it's that.
That's right. And on every show, we spotlight two people who have recently given to become a PPP, a paying Patreon peep. Lisa Monroe, who do we have today?
We have James and we have Rosanna. So good to see them join in, and we're looking forward to interacting with you on Patreon.
All right. If it's pronounced Rosanna, did she say anything about her relationship with the band Toto? Just asking for a friend.
She did not, but we could ask.
All right. I know I have a woman down the street who pronounces it Rosanna.
Okay.
So I don't know. I guess it can go either way depending on where you're from, right?
Well, I guess from the South, that's the way I say A's. So,
Rosanna?
No, now wait a minute. No, I'm not going to say that. Rosanna.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Rosanna, Rosanna, we appreciate you very much. Both of you. James, thank you, sir. And ma'am, Rosanna, however you say your name, thank you very much. And thank you to all of our Patreon peeps. We really appreciate you very much. It keeps the show going. We meet our expenses and life is good. Lisa, you are the guru of all gurus when it comes to merchandise. Anything new and exciting there?
Well, we've got some great new merchandise, and a little for those cold mornings if you're jumping in the car to drive to a resort in the middle of the winter. You can have a in hoodie on and stay warm. And so we've got a couple of things like that, but we've got, a whole bunch of stuff. We've got t-shirts, we've got towels, we've got water bottles, we've got coffee mugs, we've got coffee cups, we've got a lot of things for you to just kind of show off that you're part of the Naturist community. And you can find all of that merchandise on nakednudists.naturist.com, and just click on the NNN shop on the menu bar, and you can scroll through to your heart's content.
Okay. One of these days we ought to throw a party, a Naked Nudist and Naturist party, and your ticket for entry is some kind of merchandise from NNN. Show up, show your coffee mug at the door, have a hat on, have a shirt on, whatever, and that's your ticket in. Wouldn't that be exciting?
That'd be fun. It'd be fun to see what everybody chose to get in food with. Because, some people may be coffee people, some may be water people, some may be, like their crossbody packs, their little I call them fanny packs, but that's whatever.
That's okay.
We'll call them crossbody to just be polite.
All
and
right.
so you never know what people are going to want.
Right. And if they're wearing a ski hat, do we have to have the rule it must be on your head, nothing silly?
Nothing silly.
Okay.
Must be on your head. We have one little knit cap that has NNN on it, so you can wear it anywhere at any time. And so, you can stay warm that way.
All right. Well, that sounds good. We recently read a letter from Dale. He's the gentleman who's a trucker and delivers boats to various dealerships in the northern U.S. as well as in Canada. Fairly new to naturism, and he had some questions. He's been listening to various shows, and he sent us a follow-up email. He mentioned this to his family, basically his coming out party, for lack of a better term. He didn't use that term, by the way. I just did, and I don't know why, because I've never used that term before. But anyway, the reaction wasn't quite what he had hoped for, and so he decided to put his thoughts in writing to his family. And he starts off with, Dear Frank and Lisa. So immediately he got my attention as a potential best favorite guest of the week. Hi, Frank and Lisa. And then after he binge listened to another show, he said, I thankfully found your show. You both are very talented at what you do and very entertaining. And on top of that, it's extremely informative. He even called me talented. How about that?
I think he said you both are very talented.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
Yes,
Let me go back. Yeah. Oh, you both. I'm sorry.
Yes. Yes. Let's read all the words, Frank. Remember, we read all the words.
That's right. Well, dear Frank and Lisa, I thankfully found your show. You both are very talented at what you do and very entertaining. So good. Okay, so he did mention us both.
Yes,
I don't know how you slipped my mind. I guess I was just thinking of myself there for a moment.
And I appreciate it.
Okay.
Just realized what you said. That's probably true. But anyway, I'm not going there.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Hale, for mentioning both of us. We appreciate that.
That's right. Obviously, I'm just kidding. Horsing around here. All right, then he says, I've written to you previously about my recent conversion to naturism and my first experience going to a naturist club. What I thought I would share with you this time is how I handled the rather frigid reception to my naturism by my family. I never realized how fearful of nudism they were and how concerned they were about me until my sister told me. I decided I needed to let them know just what I believe naturism is and how I felt about it, so I wrote them a letter. And he has shared that letter with us, and we're putting it out there in case this helps anybody at all. If you need this, gives you some ideas. Lisa, can you go ahead and, after the dear family, read the first three paragraphs?
I certainly will. I wanted to explain a little to you about my fairly recent decision to practice naturism, which is also called nudism. I like the term naturism better because it leaves some of the negative baggage behind that has possibly been attached to the term nudism over the years. What I believe naturism to be is living my life clothes-free as much as possible, but only where it is legal to do so. I do not associate any sexuality or exhibitionism with it, and if it were about that, I would not do it. I want to incorporate naturism into my life because of the way it makes me feel, which is good and happy and more relaxed. Things that used to cause me stress and anxiety don't as much anymore.
Okay, I'll continue on. Still the letter to his family. I haven't really said anything about it, but for a while I felt a little enclosed and isolated in this little truck sleeper and cab where I spend most of my time. There just hasn't really been a way for me to meet anyone or interact socially with new people. That feeling has lessened by quite a lot since I've had this change of heart and my experience at a naturist club. This may all seem kind of sudden, but it's not. I've been sleeping naked for years and spending much of my time in the truck clothes free. And go ahead and continue from there.
I'm writing this out because it's kind of a difficult conversation, and I'm afraid my mind might go into vapor lock in the middle of it and I'll say it wrong. I'm writing to you because you are the people I love the most and the only ones I feel I need to explain to. This state of mind is pretty amazing, and I know there are health benefits that are physical and mental, but I'm not going to try to convert you. I think this is one of the most personal decisions one can make in life and one that you must come to on your own. That said, I would rather you didn't try talking me out of naturism either. Like I said, it's a big and important decision, and I've made it.
Okay, and finishing up his letter to his family, I should tell you that I will be comfortable being or not being seen naked by you. If you wish, I will make an effort to not be seen by you, but if you happen to see me, I hope you aren't too startled. I won't be, and it won't embarrass me. Likewise, I will also be comfortable seeing or not seeing you naked. I hope you will try it as we live in a property that is a naturist's paradise. To conclude, I just want to say I love you, and I haven't looked forward to the future with this much happiness in quite a while. Love, Dale. And then he sent us a little note at the end if you want to read that.
Obviously, I'm a truck driver on the road for weeks at a time. The letter went over well, especially with my parents, who told me that they were relieved by it and could support my decision, but they wouldn't be joining me anytime soon. Too bad. Thanks for all you do. Best regards, Dale.
Heartwarming letter. You know, the guy has discovered nature. He's already been sleeping naked for years, just didn't tell anybody about it.
Mm-hmm.
And is overjoyed and excited. Like, you won't believe what I discovered. This is great. I have to tell my family. And he did. And the reaction was like, well, as he said, frigid.
Mm-hmm.
And he thought it was okay until his sister said, you know, Dale, you have some problems here. They're not really happy about this. Well, it's important to him. So he thought, okay, I'll put it in writing. And sometimes that is the best way. Face-to-face does not work always. Mm. I prefer face-to-face, but sometimes people need to read it and digest it and then have a face-to-face. And I guess that's what he thought his parents needed. Before we talk a little bit more about that, have you ever had a situation in your life, not necessarily naturism, although it could be, where you discovered something, you just thought this was the greatest thing ever, but you knew your parents might not be totally thrilled, and you had to tell them or decided to tell them?
That's an interesting question because I'm not really sure. Maybe telling someone I'm telling them I was dating someone that they didn't approve of or something. There was that kind of friction building up, but nothing to the extent that Dale had to go through with his family or other people had too. So I think I've been fortunate in that respect. But I can tell you this, my father would have probably been understanding. My mother would have not been, so when you know those things about your family, sometimes people, it's that fear. He mentioned the word fear that his sister said, they were fearful of what was happening to him. So you know what? That's one of the biggest things. And I think that's the fear we feel when we tell people anything that we feel they're going to be unhappy about.
Yeah, never true. I was through my youth, elementary, middle school, high school. Music was a really big deal for me in my life, and performing it and so on and so forth. Without getting into specifics, everybody knew, without me ever saying it, because I never said it, they knew I would go on to major in music in college and become a professional musician. Everybody knew that, even though I never said it. It was just one of those foregone things. What they didn't know is that my parents, especially my dad, was saying, you can do anything you want, you can be anything you want, except a musician. Please don't consider that as a career. Because, he explained all the reasons, which made sense. I said, oh, shoot, I have this passion for it. I want to do it. But here's my dad saying, this will be bad news, don't do it. And I had a couple of doctors in my life. I was a patient of theirs, and talked to them about it. One of them flat out asked me, so what do you want to do the rest of your life? I was 16 or 17. I said, I want to be a professional musician. He goes, no, seriously, what do you want to do? And I said, no, that's it. He goes, forget that. He goes, you'll be traveling, you'll be in hotels, you won't have a family. He said, have you ever considered being a doctor? And I said, well, I have, but I really like this music thing. He goes, no, forget that. He goes, because you can do that on the side, but as a profession. And long story short, he and this other doctor who didn't know each other, each individually offered me the following: go to college, get a 4-year degree in anything, preferably science, but they'll take anything. Mm-hmm. They'll get me into their medical schools that they went to. And when I graduate from medical school, I can intern with them. And then after 2 years, I can stay with them or go on my own. I thought, well, that's a pretty sweet deal, right? Either way you look at it.
No doubt.
So I went to college and immediately started majoring in science. And people, from high school, like, what? What? Are you sure you have the right Frank Stone? It can't be. And it took about 1.5 years before I finally, I don't want to do this. I want to do music. So hey, there was the moment to tell my parents. And I went home and I told my mom, and she said, well, I was kind of expecting this. And now we have to worry about telling your dad. I said, oh, yeah, I've been worrying about it all day. So she agreed to grease the skids with him. And then later I came in and I said, well, Dad, I made a decision here. I want to know what you think. Of course, he already knew what the decision was. And I told him, and I expected him to say, get out of my life and don't ever come back. But he said, if that's what you've decided to do, then you need to do it and be the absolute best you can be. He said, don't do it half-heartedly. Don't do it just because it's fun. Make it your career in life. Mm-hmm. Well, that worked out well.
It certainly did.
Had it not, would I have put it in writing? Maybe so, like Dale did, because his face-to-face didn't work out, so he put it in writing. And his parents have accepted, okay, we love you, Dale. That's fine. Dale, be as naked as a jaybird as often as you want, but we won't be joining you. But at least he got it out there on the table, and everybody understood where everybody stands, right?
It's certainly good. And I think at that point in time, your father recognized that you had done what he'd asked. You had pursued that and then realized it wasn't for you. And that's probably why he was able to make the decision that now you were old enough and mature enough and had tried what his path was. And so, he was comfortable with the decision you made. And it was a good decision for you.
Yeah. So if you're into the whole naturism thing, which you are because you're listening to our show, whether you've been doing it forever or fairly new to it, if you need to tell somebody about it, Dale has given you another way to do it. You could even take his letter and tweak it to your own understanding or needs. The people you don't want to talk to them face to face. Maybe just slip a letter under their door. Hey, mom and dad. Hey, sis. Hey, brother. Whatever. Not a bad way to go. And so we appreciate Dale. Thank you very much for all of your kind words and for sending that letter in. Hopefully from here things will get bigger and better for you in your naturist world, and maybe someday your parents will come around to. Well, I guess they've already accepted him, but. Maybe they'll try it themselves. Who knows, right?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that strikes me about Dale's letter is that he's comfortable with his decision, regardless of how they feel. He wants them to be happy for him, but he understands if they're not, but he knows what he wants. And so that's, I think, one of the best things that we can do for ourselves is to be comfortable with our decisions, what they are, and deal with whatever the outcome is, but just stay true to what you believe.
Yep, very well said. With that, Lisa Monroe, we need to head for the hills. Now I get to the interview now with Brian King. And I'll see you at the end of the show. Stay clothes free. I'll see you about a half hour or so.
Sounds good.
The very terrific Lisa Monroe, as she goes dancing out of the studio, immediately made a left turn, which means she's headed to the coffee pot. Nothing wrong with that. It flows rather freely around here. And she does it all. You know about all that she does and so much more behind the scenes. And we thank Lisa Monroe very much. As a reminder, we are the official podcast for the American Association for Nude Recreation. Are you a member? If so, great. But if not, you can become one within moments. Just go to AANR.com, follow the navigation to membership. And within moments, just like I am and just like Lisa Monroe is, you will become a fully fledged member of the American Association for Nude Recreation. How about that? Well, you are listening to Naked Nudists and Naturists, episode 133 today. Thank you for being with us. We enjoy this time together. Clothes-free living for all of the right reasons. And now let's get to part one of my interview with relatively new naturist, loving every second of it, the terrific Brian King. We are headed to the area of Central Florida today, not too far from the Office for the American Association for Nude Recreation, to talk to a gentleman who's written us multiple times, and we've read his emails on the air. He's the one who went to Lake Como to visit Rick Dorsiak and spend time with him there. He also went to Cypress Cove and living the life, clothes-free life, naturism, nudism, enjoying every second. So let's bring him to the show this morning. You already probably feel like you know him since we've read so many of his emails, but from the Central Florida area. Let's welcome Brian to the show. Good morning, Brian. How are you today, sir?
Oh, I'm doing fine. Nice to be on the show.
Yeah, good to have you here. It's we've enjoyed your emails. I think they started about the time Rick Dorsiak was on the show, and you wrote to us, and you started off with, I really enjoyed the podcast. I've listened to all 95 episodes. That's how many we had at the time. And you talked about how you discovered us, and you loved the interview that we had with Rick Dorsiak from Kick-Ass Nudists. We get his name on every show, it seems like. I don't know. I keep telling Lisa, should we be charging him or should we be paying him? We're not sure yet, but that's how you found our show. That was your first interview that you heard. But since that time, boy, your nudism life has taken off, especially over the summer. Maybe just give us a little background. How did you discover naturism, being clothes-free? Is this a long-time thing for you, recently discovered? What's your story here?
Yeah, I'm actually fairly new to the naturism lifestyle. Basically, I mean, my wife died, unfortunately, 10 years ago, but after she passed away, I started actually going to take a shower. I get out of the shower, I finally realized, you know what? I don't feel like getting dressed. I mean, it's the evening. I'm just going to relax and watch some television. And I just started enjoying it. So I started to, mostly was a home nudist for years. But I've always kind of wanted to try the social nudity thing, either go to a beach or a resort to try it out. So, but I was always a little apprehensive because I didn't really know anybody who was a naturist. So one day I was looking at the podcast and I discovered your podcast. So I started listening to your show, and I forget about when it was, but it was over a year ago, maybe. So it was kind of like, I think you had like maybe like 20 some episodes or 30 episodes, I can't remember. So I started going back and listening to all of them. And one day you had Rick Dorsiak on your show. And of course, obviously, one of the places I was always wanted to try is Lake Como, because it seemed like they were open. Obviously I'm a single male. And some places are kind of like apprehensive about single males, especially if you don't have much of a background in naturism.
Yeah.
So I said, I'd like to go try that place. So when I heard him on your show and I saw he lived at Lake Como, I said, he sounded like a really cool guy on your show. I really enjoyed listening to him. So I said, I'm going to reach out to him and see if he'd be willing to meet me out there and have somebody to show me the ropes, basically, right?
Yeah.
So I reached out to Rick Dorsiak and he said, yeah, he'd love to. Of course, the biggest thing is he's always traveling, that guy, to try to find a time. Yeah. So it was around my birthday. July 7th was my birthday. And I said, hey, what better way to spend your birthday than your birthday suit? So basically, I reached out to Rick and he said, yeah. So finally, July 9th, he said he's available. So I went down to Lake Como because obviously it was, they required you to do a background check and do a tour, which I did the background check ahead of time. And then I went down there. So I said, I'm going to go to the first tour. It was 10 o'clock. So I'm going to get down there early. So I had the whole rest of the day to enjoy the place and find out what it's all about. So I went down there. And Rick's a great guy. He was already there waiting for me. He was in his car waiting for me when I arrived. And I said, "Hey, how you doing?" And so I went in and I took a tour. Now, of course, the tour, they give you the option to either be clothed or be naked. So I wasn't sure yet, so I stayed clothed. But the guy was the older gentleman that did it, so he was naked, right? So he showed me around. It's quite a big place. They have all those nature trails and they're quite large. So when I got back, I went and paid my fee for my background check.
Yeah.
So I was surprised at how quickly I went. I just went. So Rick had his car. I said, "Hey, I'm going to drive over to the tennis course because that's where we'll check out nature trails first." I said, "Okay." So I went to my car, just took my clothes off, grabbed my bag with my towels. Next thing I know, I'm over there with Rick, and it's a guy I just met, and we're walking naked down a nature trail.
Well, what was going through your mind at that point? Because you just described the experience, never social nudism before. Suddenly, you're naked as possible with a guy who's naked as possible. You're walking on a nature trail together. What went through your mind? Like, why didn't I try this before? This is great. I hope I could live here forever. What was going on?
Yeah, well, at first, it was like it wasn't strange at all. I didn't feel strange at all. It felt
Yeah.
great. I'm walking down a trail. I felt, the breeze on my body, and I was just having a conversation with somebody the same way I would if we were both clothed. It didn't
Yeah.
even feel odd at all. We're walking around having a great time. Then of course we go back to his place, he's got a great place. He's right across the street from the pool. I mean, he got a perfect location there, right? So then he has a neighbor that was next door, and now she had clothes on because the reason why she had some work was being done in her house. So I guess she didn't want to be naked. So she had some people that were doing some work on her home. But still, so here I am talking to a female, which of course, and I'm standing there totally naked, and we're just having a conversation like I'm having a conversation with you or anybody else. And I didn't feel strange at all. It was like I was really surprised and how quickly I acclimated to it. It's just, and then we went to the pool, and then I was meeting more people, and the whole time was so much fun. And I hated the worst part of it. At the end of the day, after having so much fun with Rick and everything, it's like I hated having to go back to their car and put the clothes back on. I just wanted to stay naked.
Yeah. Yeah, that is the downside of going to a nude beach or a nudist resort. At some point, the day ends. You got to put your clothes on and get out of there. That's not fun at all, is it?
No, it's like, it's so relaxing, it's so wonderful feeling. And I said, all the people there were so nice. I mean, now of course, I went during the weekend. There wasn't a lot of people there at that particular day, but still we had such a great time, and it's funny it's like I didn't think I wasn't sure how I was gonna react, but you don't even think you're naked anymore. You're just talking to people, they're naked, you're naked, but you don't even think about it. You don't even
Yeah.
It doesn't even phase you anymore, like you're naked.
Yeah.
So I really said I hated to go home, and I was having so much fun.
And we have all types of levels of people who listen to our show because we get the feedback. We have people who have been naturist nudists for 350 years. We have people who have not yet tried it, but they're thinking about it, and everything in between. And so, for those who haven't yet tried it, what you just described is what everybody describes. And I had the same experience. Suddenly, your clothes are off, and you're talking to other human beings, most of whom have their clothes off, but not all, as you pointed out with Rick's next door neighbor. Yet, at no point did you say, "What am I doing? I need to grab a towel and get my clothes on and get out of here. This is ridiculous." You saw it as 100% normal and natural, didn't you?
Oh yeah, yeah. And then now, of course, the next phase was a little more scary because now Rick had recommended to me because I live close to the Cypress Cove, right? Because I live up in the SeaWorld area, so I'm like a little bit close to the Cypress Cove. But once again, I was kind of because it seemed like they're not as open to single male, especially if you don't have any background at all in naturism, which I didn't.
Right.
So, but of course, now I've gone to Lake Como, so they were having that same week on a Saturday, they were having an open house.
Okay.
Where they say, "Hey, come on out, take a tour, and you get free use of the place." And of course, it fell on the same day we had the International Skinny Dip Day. So I thought, oh, that's kind of cool, right? So I went out there. Of course, once again, I'm a little bit more because I didn't have anybody to meet me out there like I did with Rick Dorsey. I got Lake Como. So I said, well, I'm going to go try it out. So I go over there, and of course, it's funny, the people that are parking your cars, they're volunteers, and they're all totally naked, right?
Yeah.
And so they park my car, and I'm still wearing my clothes, though. So I walk in, I check in, and so they have a tour, and they had the people that are doing the tours were like people who are residents, they were volunteers. So the couple I met there, they were like totally naked, right? So I said, "Hey, can I get naked now?" I said, "Yeah, sure." So I said, "Okay." I just ripped my clothes off, stuck them in my bag, and next thing I knew, I'm taking a tour with some. Now it's funny because there's another couple on the tour with me, and And the one guy, he was naked too, but his I don't know if it was his wife or his girlfriend, but she was unsure, so she kept her clothes on.
Yeah.
She seemed to be a little more uncertain about this. Like he seemed like he was like into the lifestyle, but she was kind of like new to it, and she was a little unsure, so she kept her clothes on, right? But we took the tour. They showed us around, showed us the facilities there, and next thing I know, I said, okay. So then it's like you're free to go for the rest of the day. I go to the pool. I get in the pool, and right away I met a couple that was there celebrating their 27th anniversary,
Mhm.
and we were just chatting and talking. And then there's another lady walked up, and she was also celebrating 27th anniversary, and we were just having a good time. It's almost I was there celebrating my birthday week, And so next thing you know, we're having a great old time. I'm just meeting new people, and then it was funny. They have a party over there. I mean, they started throwing Fireball whiskey little bottles into the pool, right?
Yeah, I
So
heard
we
about
we
that.
each got one. So we all had a little toast to one. They said, "Hey, let's toast your anniversary, toast my birthday." And but it was so great because I mean, just it was so easy to meet people and just make new friends. I made so many new friends that whole day. I had another guy that was there, a younger guy, younger than me. He was also there for the tour. He was kind of new to this. I don't know if how long he's been in naturism, but he was trying out Cypress Cove. We ended up both of us, we didn't leave till like 1 o'clock in the morning. We closed the place down. Like the guy said, they got to throw me out, man. And we had so much fun that the following Friday I went down there and I joined. I joined, became a member, and now I've been going back several times. And I made so many. I keep meeting every time I go there. Even I went last night, and it was quiet. Sunday night was kind of quiet. There was a lot of people there. But even then, I met some new people. We had some new friends. We were hanging out in the hot tub. We were just conversing. And I made a whole bunch of new friends last night, just even on a quiet night.
Well, and that's the way this works, and that's why when people get into it, they never go back the other way. Whatever apprehension they had going in, and you had some, not a whole lot, but some like I don't know about this, but all of a sudden it's like, wow, this is beyond normal. It actually feels extra normal if there is such a thing, and you don't want to go back the other way. Now, backing up just a little bit, when your wife was still with us, and obviously you were married, was she okay with you being nude around the house, or is that something you only did when she was gone, or how did that work out?
No, I back then I didn't really do. I wasn't really naked in the house too much. I mean, we both when we both she wasn't a naturist. We both slept naked, but that's about it. But I didn't really hang around the house naked when she was alive. This all started after she had passed away. When I started, like I said, it all started when one day I took a shower and I get out of the shower and I'm like, I don't know what I'm getting dressed for. What's the purpose of getting dressed? So I just sat down and just watched television. It was in the evening, and I'm like, and then I started feeling more comfortable, and I'm like, so I started doing it more when I was at home. I was like, I just spent the day just naked in my house.
Yeah.
So it started off as becoming a home nudist,
Hmm.
and then, like I said, and then just recently, back in July, finally for the first time tried to do it socially, and now like I said, I love it, man.
Yeah.
It's like, man, I hate to put my clothes back on.
Well, the whole showering thing, we hear that a lot from people. And I know personally, when I get out of the shower, no matter how well I've dried off, there's still a little bit of moisture going on, whether it's in the air and it still sticks to your skin a little. So if you put clothes on right away, those clothes are going to absorb the moisture. And then I never feel quite right after that. And it's not a lot, it's not a terrible thing, but it's enough that I at least notice it on the conscious level. But when you stay nude after your shower, you totally dry off and then let the air dry that extra moisture off that a towel just won't take off. And then before you know it, oh, geez, I was going to stay nude 5 minutes. And wow, it's like 6, 7 hours later. Why put clothes on now, right? You just stay that way and enjoy the rest of your day. Is that basically how you found it to be as well?
Yeah, yeah, that's why I found it because I was like, especially if you take a shower in the evening, right? It's like what am I? I'm not going anywhere. I'm just gonna sit here, relax, watch TV before I go to bed. So why the heck should I be putting clothes on? Doesn't make any sense putting clothes on, right?
No, makes no sense at all. And we've discovered just over the last year or so, we suspected this, but we had no way to prove it. But we have found out a whole bunch of home nudists are out there. They enter their house and the clothes come off. And you and I will never know this because they never come out of their house with their clothes off. Every time you see them, cutting the grass, getting the mail, they have clothes on. What they don't tell you is that when you don't see them, the clothes are off. And that's fine. If that's how people want to live, there's nothing wrong with that at all. But when you reach out and branch out like you have to other people, going to these clubs, instantly you make friends. Now that's the hardest part for people to understand. Like, okay, there's got to be something wrong here. No, it's actually 100% right. And the theory is, and I believe this as well, and I've experienced it. Sounds like you have too. There's no pretenses anymore. There's no baloney, no hiding behind a fancy suit or a fancy dress or jewelry. It's just you and it's just him or her, and now you're going to enjoy the day together, right?
Yeah, like I said, I was actually surprised that because it was really funny back when I was younger, when I was instilled in school there, right? You know
Mm.
how like you have gym class, and of course, they want you to take a shower right after gym class, right?
Yeah.
Because you're all sweaty in that. And it's funny how I've changed so much over the years because I was actually didn't I was not comfortable taking a shower, even when I'm taking showers with other guys, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't a comfortable thing, right? I hated to do it, right? But now I'm over here at Cypress Cove, right? And they come out of the pool. And before I left, I'm over there. They have outside showers there. You're supposed to shower before you go in the pool. And then, of course, so I decided, well, I was going to shower myself out before I got dressed, so I get the chlorine off my body. And there's a woman right across to me, in the same shower stall. It's like two showers right facing one another. And she's over there totally nude, showered. I'm totally nude. We're having a conversation, and I'm like, "Wow, this is really changing me." Back when I was younger, I didn't like taking showers with a guy. Now I'm taking a shower with a total strange woman that I'm just conversing with, and I didn't feel uncomfortable at all. It was like totally natural. I said, "I don't care." We were just having a conversation, and it's like so it's so funny how my life has changed so much from when I was younger to where I am now.
Yeah. And the way the mind works, let's say you would have had a bathing suit on and she would have had a bikini on, you're both showering. There would have been those thoughts like, I wonder what she looks like out of that bikini. Hey, baby, maybe I'll get to know her better later tonight. Well, the fact you're both nude, none of that enters your heads because it's already there. You see everything and you're enjoying each other's company, and any untoward thoughts don't even enter the brain anymore. That's the most amazing part I've found is I never see a woman either at a nude beach or nudist resort and get the thought or feeling like, hey, I wonder what she's like, maybe I ought to hit her up. That never enters my mind. It sounds like you found the same way. I mean, at no point did you walk over in the shower and say, hey, baby, I like your bar of soap. How about if we have a drink together? It just didn't happen, did it?
No, like I said, it's so comfortable. I mean, like I said, I just meet people, whether it's male or female, and I don't even think about that. I'm not thinking any kind of thoughts like that. I'm just like, hey, we're just like cool people. I meet new people. We converse. We have fun. We can participate in different games that they have at the resort. And no, I never even think about that. As I said, it's so funny because that's the one thing you always worry about too when you first go to a social nudity. Like you're thinking, okay, well, how do I react if I see all these naked women there, like totally
Yeah.
strangers to me. When am I going to get aroused or whatever? But
Right.
no, I haven't even got aroused once. It's like I don't even think that way. It's like you just like I said, it's just the same as if I'm talking to a woman and we're both clothed.
Yeah.
I don't see any different. It's like we're the same mindset, and like I said, one of the things what I found, like we always talk about naturism, how friendly they are, and it's true because and also, when I went to Lake Como and also Cypress Grove, not once did I ever feel like, oh, somebody's checking my body out.
Yeah. Right.
No, nobody ever checked my body out. They just looked at me eye to eye and we have conversations. And so I totally felt comfortable, totally felt safe at both places. I never felt like I was in any kind of jeopardy or whatever. I always felt it was a really safe environment. And there's also children there, which I was also wondering how I was going to react. You see, there's children there too, right? But
Yeah.
no, they're having fun. I'm having fun. No one's checking one another out. It's a whole family environment there, and everybody's having a great time.
Yeah, I don't know if you spent a lot of time around kids, but obviously you were a kid at one time. You were 1 year old and 2 years old. But kids basically have that mindset without even being consciously aware of it. Obviously, why do I have to wear clothes? They'll just come running around the house naked because it is the normal, natural state. And to them, it's just they're going to drink water. They're going to be naked. Why are you questioning anything at all? I've found that to be the case. So it's good that these resorts. This is Cypress Cove you're talking about with the kids.
Yeah, both Lake Como and Cypress Grove, they're both family oriented resorts.
Yeah, that's one of the issues we're beginning to tackle because there's a thought out there, boy, if kids show up at resorts clothes free, then all heck's going to break loose. And I've been there different places enough times to know that is 100% not the case. If anything, people are even more vigilant in terms of protecting the kids than they would be at a grocery store or just maybe even a textile beach. If you have really bad thoughts and you're a really bad person, you're going to think those thoughts whether the kid's naked or not. The kid being naked doesn't necessarily enhance those thoughts. You're wired, or it's ingrained. You want to do stuff you shouldn't be doing. But we have found they're more protected and more watched over much more closely at naturist resorts. Have you discovered or noticed that that's the trend as well?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Well, several weeks back, I think it was about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I was at Cypress Cove, and apparently I didn't know the whole story, but there's some guy that's been there before, and somehow he was able to get into the place, and he was trying to take pictures of children.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And so they recognized the guy right away, and the police actually came and escorted the man out, you know. And I was talking to a lady there who was very adamant about it because she actually raised her daughters there at Cypress Cove. They've been, but so she said, "Oh yeah, man, they were there. Everybody was up in arms, man, and they were, because obviously they're very protective of the children there.
Yeah.
Whether
Yeah.
it's Lake Como or Cypress Cove, they're very protective of the children. Like it says, I really enjoyed raising my children here. It's always been a very safe environment. So if they see anybody doing anything that's nefarious like that, they're gonna be on them right away, and they're gonna be gone, kicked out, or the police will be called or whatever. So they're very much about keeping the kids safe.
Yeah, and that's the way it should be. And I think every nudist resort out there, I could be wrong because I haven't read the rules of every single club, but I think my best guess is that they have such rules. You can't take pictures of anybody, period, end of story, obviously, let alone, children. But you can't even take, pictures of a woman or a guy across the pool. I think I'll get a quick snapshot for later. You can't do that either, or you'll be escorted out if you get caught, right?
Yeah, yeah, you're not supposed to take any kind of photographs. The only photographs you can take is as long as there's nobody else in the background, or unless you have somebody's consent. So usually when I bring my cell phone with me, it's just like if I take a break to go get a bite to check my emails or check my Facebook or whatever. So I know I just leave my phone in my bag. I didn't even touch it when I'm there, except like I said later on, maybe just checking my Facebook and that. But I don't even keep my phone out. If I go there, I just put it in my bag and go have fun, do the activities, enjoy meeting people, and I don't even touch my phone, when it's mostly there.
Yeah, no, if you're whipping your phone out and taking pictures anywhere, in this case, we're both guys. So if we're taking pictures of women, again, at the grocery store, the post office, walking down the street, that's not mentally healthy. Now, if you're doing it at a nudist resort, then it just adds another layer to it. And so these clubs don't allow it. And I'm not sure what they do on nude beaches. I know Hallover, for example, has a police presence. They actually have stations there where the police are higher up than everybody else. They can look down and make sure nobody's doing anything they shouldn't do. And I know you can't take pictures there. And if you get caught, you're going to be kicked out minimally, and who knows what after that. The other beaches, I don't know. I haven't been to some of the other ones, and I'm sure there's a knucklehead or two out there taking pictures. There's a knucklehead or two everywhere in society. We can't avoid them, but we can certainly look out for them and deal with them if we catch them, right?
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But I feel very, like I said, I never seen anybody taking photographs and stuff like that. I mean, I felt very safe at both Lake Como and Cypress Cove. I feel very safe there. They have very good policies in place, and I've never saw anybody taking photographs. Or like I said, they're very adamant about that. If you take photographs, make sure it's in an area where you're isolated, or they don't have people that they're in the background that didn't consent. Because
Yeah.
like even when I was the first day I went there for the open house, right? I had parked my car because it was a busy day, so I had to park my car further down. So I just wanted to take a quick photograph just as reference to where my car was to make sure I could find my car afterwards. But the guy who was in the parking attendant, he was just saying, "Okay, it's fine, but just make sure that when you take the photograph, you're not getting anybody in the background." I said, "Okay, I just want to take a picture of my car just to make sure I get oriented where it was located." But he was also reminding me that that's a policy. He said, "Yeah, make sure you take a picture, but don't have anybody else in the background. Make sure there's nobody in the background of your photograph."
Yeah. And the best way to do that is we police each other. You police yourself, but if I were there, you'd be keeping an eye on me if I did something stupid, and vice versa. And it almost always works out 100% of the time perfectly. And the one or two times it doesn't, like that one guy you mentioned, everybody's on it right away. Call the police, get this bum out of here. And you said they had trouble with him before, so he managed to sneak in, under an assumed name, or who knows how he got in, right?
Yeah, I think he tried to use a different name and he got in there somehow. But but like I said, they were on it really fast, and people recognized this guy, and it's like, so they called the police, and yeah, they just escorted him right out. They said we're not tolerating this kind of stuff. So I hope hopefully he won't be able to ever get in again because they have pretty good security there. They have a security shack there when you first come in, and of course you got to show your card, and they all verify that you're a member there. So they have pretty good security there to make sure that a bunch of there's no weirdos coming in there, or
Yeah.
nobody can get in there who just wants to be a gawker. There's only people who obviously are members there that are there to enjoy themselves and not there for other reasons.
Yeah, I think I was still in high school. Maybe I had already graduated. I'm not sure, but one of my high school teachers, who I got to know well when I was a student and got to know even better after I graduated, he and a few other teachers were at a camp of some sort. Had nothing to do with naturism or nudism. Had to do with the school, but they heard there was a nudist resort up the road a bit, and they said, "Hey, what the heck? Why don't we go and see what's going on there?" And so they drove in, and this was many years ago, way before security cameras and all that stuff. It's just kind of in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the woods. And they drove in and they started driving around, and they said they couldn't believe there were naked people everywhere. They were playing volleyball, they were swimming, they were standing around talking. It's like, yeah, that's kind of what human beings do. It's human being things. And then eventually, somebody came up and said, are you a registered member here, or do you have a day pass? They said, no, we took a wrong turn and drove in accidentally. I'm sure they got that story, a million times a day. And so they were told to get the heck out of there and don't come back. Well, now most naturist resorts, if not all, have some kind of a gate, right? You just can't drive in willy nilly and drive around and make hay with the situation. You have to be authorized to get in at some level, right?
Yeah, because I know like it's both places, but especially Cypress Cove. Cypress Cove, yes, they have like you can't tell from the outside street that it's a nudist resort. They have a wall. There's a Cypress Cove when you drive in, and yeah, there's a guard shack with a gate there, and then you have to of course tell them that you're either there for open house or you have to show your card that you're a member there, and then they let you in. You can't see anything from the outside road until you actually drive in, and then right when you first drive in, you see naked people right away because they have at the front area, they have a campground. They have an area where people camp out,
Mm-hmm.
right at near the front of the place, So as soon as you walk in, you see people out there relaxing, having a good time. They have the campers out there, But they do have a gate, and like I said, so you just can't drive in to look around because there's a gate, there's a guard shack right there. So there's no way to get in there without seeing the guard first. So there's no way you can just sneak in there, look around,
Yeah, and that's different from the old days where you could just drive right in. And so if anybody's out there listening to this show thinking, hey, I think I'll check this out, who will know that I was there? Well, everybody will know that you were there, and you're not even going to get in. And you mentioned, I think, I'm not sure if it was just Cypress Cove or Cypress Cove and Lake Como. Correct me on that, or verify which one or both. They not frown upon single males, but they're a little more apprehensive. And you said, especially if you don't have a background in naturism. How would they know if you have a background in naturism?
Well, yeah, that's Cypress Cove.
Okay.
Lake Como seem to be more open to say, "Hey, come take a tour," because they do a background check there, so
Okay.
they check you out first, and so they're a little more open to single males. That's why I was a little apprehensive about Cypress Cove because they had said that that people who were single males, especially like I said, if you hadn't had any kind of experience in naturism, when you went to another resort or whatever, they don't. There's no they're apprehensive about that, but unfortunately, like I said, I did the open house. So that was they allowed you to come in because you're coming in for the open house. And then that they always tell people too that, especially if you're a single male, the best way to check out Cypress Cove is like when they do their open house, they do it several per year, come on out because then, they just come on in and you can check it out. But I don't know how they really check on that, but I did, but I had but like I said, they seem to be fine with me. I came to their resort. I had the whole day that I came back on Friday, and they didn't give me any problems at all. They let me sign right up, So I was like, that was great. So I was a little bit worried about Cypress Cove because I heard about those things, but I was totally wrong because people were friendly. They were very open, whether it's people that are visiting there or members or staff members, whatever. They were all very, very open and very friendly. So I would say if anybody wanted to go try Cypress Cove out, especially, is the best time to do is like when they do the open houses because you can go there, check it out, get a tour, get the whole day for free, and you can see if you like it or not. Now Lake Como, like I said, usually they require, if you're brand new, you've never been there, they require a background check on you. You got to do a background check for those people. And I think what they do is, I think Red Lake Como requires every 2 years you got to get a new background check every 2 years over there. But that's how but like I said, so I was a little bit apprehensive about Cypress Cove, but found out, hey, it wasn't what I thought. And like I said, I just had to join it. I've been having fun ever since.
Oh, that's great to hear. Now, when you say in terms of a background check at Lake Como, is that an actual, I can't think of the name of it, a police background check, or just they go on the internet and check for your name, or what?
Yeah, I guess they do it for you. It's like $20. Basically, you just give them you have to give them your name and your social security number, and they just do a background check on you. And they do it for you, and that's why they charge a $20 fee is basically to cover their background check fee costs, But then when you do the background check, like I said, then you come out for the tour. The best thing to do if you're going to go out there is like at least maybe a couple of days ahead of time, 2 or 3 days ahead of time, do the background checks that way to make sure it has time and it's all approved before you come out there. Because if you wait till the day you are, then it's going to take a while to do the background check, Yeah. So obviously. Now, you don't have to, the one thing about Lake Como, you don't have to schedule a tour. I thought you had to schedule a tour. I called them up and said, no, just show up. They said from 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock is our first tour every day. I think it's all 7 days a week, So you just basically show up. And, but like I said, I did my background check ahead of time, so that way everything's approved. And I called them up and said, oh yeah, you're great, good to go. So I said, okay, good. So I got there. But I said, so just pay it. So $20 you pay to cover it, but they don't charge anything extra. So you can try the whole place out the whole day. You can try it out and see if you like the place,
Oh, that's not bad at all. The very terrific Brian King discovered the love of naturism, now cannot get enough of it, met up with Rick Dorsiak at Lake Como, now is a member at Cypress Cove. He's doing it all and having a great time doing it. And on next week's show, next Saturday, which will be episode 135, part 2 of my interview with Brian King. And before we bid you farewell until next Wednesday, let's bring back in our naturism correspondent, Lisa Monroe. Welcome back, Lisa Monroe.
Oh, it's so wonderful to be back. It's been away so long. Yeah.
Did you go on vacation, travel the world in the last half hour or what?
Absolutely. It seems we do this all the time, so those little blocks of not doing it seem forever. So anyway.
That's true. Well, somehow I don't see you sitting in a back room waiting. I know you did something. What did you make phone calls, read a book? What did you do?
I actually had to make phone calls, answer a few emails, the normal stuff.
That's right. You're not a sit around and do nothing and wait for Frank kind of person.
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. Well, it's great to talk to Brian. As many emails as we've exchanged back and forth, about his adventures in nudism, naturism, and meeting up with Rick. Finally got to meet him and talk to him. This guy is loving every second of life, and it's really great to hear, isn't it?
It certainly is. And, we do feel like we know him, but it was such a pleasure to actually get to hear him say this and hear that enthusiasm in his voice. So really a great interview and fun to see these transitions that people go through when they suddenly go, oh, I'm a naturist, and oh, it's okay.
Yeah. It's just, I think it goes back to what I've said before, and I am not a psychologist, so don't take this to the bank, but we were born nude. We were meant to live nude. We got away from it because society told us we had to. So when we get back to it, it's like anything else. You grow up, you're comfortable, you're happy, you move out, you go away to another state, another country. It's always nice to move back home, isn't it?
It certainly is. And it's certainly good to feel that comfort level that we feel when we're naked, because wherever you are is home when you're feeling that good.
That's right. And so we understand Brian's excitement, and we'll get to part 2 of his interview next week. In the meantime, Lisa Monroe, let's head for the hills, and I will see you next Wednesday, as long as you promise to stay clothes-free until then.
Well, I certainly will always promise to do that, and so I guess I will see you Wednesday.
All right. Have a good few days. We'll see you then.
Okay. Take care. Bye.
Well, you've been listening to Naked, Nudists, and Naturists, episode 133 today. We give you a brand new show every Saturday morning, 6 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time, and on most Wednesdays, 12 noon Eastern Time. Continue to join us. Check us out on our website, nakednudistandnaturist.com, Spotify, Google, Amazon/Audible, Apple Podcasts, and also on Twitter. You can write us anywhere, anytime, any place. And we thank you for being with us today. Plan to join us for every single one of our shows here and have your clothes off when you're listening. We have our clothes off when we're broadcasting, enjoying the naturist life.
We celebrate clothes-free living for all. Remember to enjoy being naked and join us again for Naked, Nudist, and Naturist.
We drop a brand new show every Saturday morning, so come back and join us. Have your clothes off when you do for Naked, Nudist, and Naturist. Have a great clothes-free day.